And we are live. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Forever Sports. It is the big one, really. Leinster versus Stormers. And are Leinster going to get their first ever home final? You know, they've won the URC, but they never won in front of their home crowd. And they're desperate for success. But are they as desperate as a Stormers side who wants to take a final back to Cape Town? Because that is the equation, given the fact that the Bulls have just beaten Glasgow Warriors. And so a win for the Stormers would mean a home final, would mean a home derby final as well. So really all to play for in the next 2 hours. And it's time to really start getting settled in, people. Get your votes in on who you're supporting in the comments. Get your thoughts in on the score predictions. And I think we're going to be... I think it's one of two ways. I think we're going to have a very close game where the Stormers could potentially edge it out and maybe start strong, or I think the Stormers could get blown away, to be perfectly honest. I don't really see a Stormers blowout win type of situation, if I'm going to have to be brutally honest about this. But maybe, who knows? Maybe it is a case of I don't know anything, and the Stormers have something cooking up and behind the training ground, and John Dobson knows exactly how to go and beat Leinster. He did say there is a template of how they would like to play against Leinster. The question is whether they can do it himself. And let's have a look at a bit of the score predictions and the likes of that, because I think it's going to be an interesting game. And if you haven't, and this is what I'm looking at now, go to mypicks.app and get your score predictions in. It is 3 minutes to kick off, and I need to lock my score prediction in. And I'm not entirely sure where to go here, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to have to go with a Leinster win, but I think Leinster scoring at least... I think it's scoring at least... Let's go Leinster 24. I think the Stormers do score. So maybe a 24-15 kind of sounds like something that might happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. What are your predictions, people? What are you thinking? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know where you're at and what you're thinking is going to happen in the next 80 minutes. Do the Stormers have a chance? We're going to talk about the team and some big injuries. Obviously, no Sash Famigomazulu is a huge loss. No Sibela Sanatla is a big loss. So there are some injuries. It is at the Aviva Stadium. It's not a full Aviva Stadium. And ironically, if they do win today, it will not actually be at the Aviva Stadium due to availability issues and stuff like that. The final will actually take place at Croke Park, which if they were to fill it would be the biggest URC crowd ever. But given the fact that we haven't filled the Aviva for the semi-final, we didn't fill the Aviva last weekend either. I'm not entirely sure they're going to fill Croke Park. Just my thoughts. But let me know what your thoughts are. I'm gonna lock in that 24-15 prediction. I think it is a playoff rugby, so I think getting a blowout win, I think becomes a bit more difficult, the likes of that, but you never know. But go to mypicks.app. I'm going with a 9-point win for Leinster. I'm thinking it might be a bit closer if the Stormers can really pitch up today. Otherwise, I think it obviously could get a little bit out of hand. But some big injuries, really, for John Dobson to kind of worry about. So let's have a look at the side, shall we? And we'll start with the away side. Which is the Stormers. And in the front row, in Tuka, what a season he's had. And this is now where you really need to step up. This is now where you need to show Rassie Erasmus and his coaches that I'm back. It's one thing when you play during the season, for example, and you put in a string of good performances, you get some man of the matches and the likes of that. But I always say that it's one thing to perform. Well, not so when the pressure's off. I don't think these days you ever have a game where there's no pressure, inverted commas, but these are the big games, semi-finals, big match players. Those are players who can be trusted by international coaches. So I think this is a huge opportunity for Tuka to carry that form he's had throughout the season into this game. So, by the way, playing in green. That jersey on the screen is not a mistake. They are indeed playing in green as they come out. So Andrew Hugo Fenter, Netling Bashir will join into the Kukunu. Then RJ Smith, Connor Evans, massive opportunity for Connor Evans. No Ruben van Heerden. There's a huge miss for the Stormers, one of the injuries for this weekend. They then got Paul Levez, Ben J. Dixon, Evan Roos in that back row. Evan Roos, top try scorer in the URC group stage, and he'll love to make sure that he crosses that whitewash this afternoon. And then got Emma Cobb, the youngster, next to Yuri Mattia, also a youngster. Big opportunity for these two. And this is where we talk about the injuries. It's not the same kind of combination as a Kobus Reinach next to a Sasha Famigomazulu. So not that Sasha's, much older than either of these two, but different pedigree of player. The two wings, Leon Sassa, Wandisila Similani. Big opportunity for Similani, who has been a journeyman, and his career hasn't really stepped up. No Sibela Sanatla is a huge miss for the Stormers, but maybe this is an opportunity for Samilani to knock down the door and say, I'm still here. I think they're going to need big, strong performances from Dan du Plessis and Ruan now in the centres. And then I think if the Stormers are going to win, one player will have a big match, and that will be David Willemse. I think that he's key this afternoon. I think David Willemse rocks up and puts in an all-timer. It goes a long way towards the Stormers getting a victory. The substitutes are JJ Kotze, Vernon Matongo, Zachary Porthan, Sal Murat, Ruan Ackerman, Marcel Tennyson, Stefan Unger, and Warwick Halam. Plenty of Springboks in and amongst those players. By the way, referee this afternoon is Holly Davidson, assisted by Sam Grove White, Adam Jones, and Mike Adamson in the TMO. Then the scary team that is Leinster/Ireland, as everyone will say. It is a full Irish front row, international front row of Andrew Porter, Ronan Kelleher, and Thomas Clarkson. And big opportunity for Thomas Clarkson to up the heights. There's no Ty Furlong at the moment. He had an injury sort of stacked season, so it's continued to be on the sidelines. But Joe McCarthy, James Ryan in the second row, Josh van der Vliet, Kellen Doris, and Max Deegan the back row. And a lot of these players, by the way, playing for the Stormers against the Stormers for the first time because of they just often didn't travel, or they're not playing when for Leinster during these sort of clashes. So it'll be quite interesting to sort of see if that it hinders them. Jamison Gibson Park is a phenomenal player to have starting, and I think one of the forms come off in the world. He's next to Sam Prendergast. He had a good game last weekend, but the Lions didn't really offer as much as we kind of hoped that they would. So he's a player who I still think that you can get after. James Lowe became the Leinster's record try scorer last weekend, so he'll be looking to try and add to that record. He's got Jimmy O'Brien on the other end. Keo Keenan at full back is always very classy, and James Osborne next to Rico Awani in the midfield. Then off the bench, Gus McCarthy, Alex Usanov, and Rabbi Slimani in the front row. You've then got Diamond Megan, Jack Conan, Luke McGrath, Harry Byrne, and Gary Ringrose as your backline replacements. So lots of experience there, especially the likes of a Slimani, for example, a Jack Conan, and a Ringrose are nice players to have to be able to sort of get yourself over the line. It is about to have kickers. And as I said, Stormers playing in the green, Leinster playing in the usual blue, playing left to right. And they have kickoff, do the Stormers. So get your Stormers predictions in, as we do have kickoff down the left-hand side. And it's an early touch, and inside there from Kalen Doris, a nice early tackle. They're coming from Andrew Hugo Fenton and Evan Ruiz. Evan Ruiz, this is a game where he needs to throw down that Rusty, I'm here sort of performance. You've got to, he's too good a player to continuously not be being called up and the likes of that, but he just hasn't been able to sort of show it when it's really counted. And this is an opportunity for him. And there's an early touch from Evan Willemse. He gets bundled into touch, but this is a big opportunity, I think, for Evan Ruiz to put in a statement performance. I think a lot of these players are looking to try and put in statement performances. But a good early kick that from Gibson Park. Very well taken by David Willemse, but bundled into touch just shortly after coming to ground. I think he's the key. I think Evan Ruiz, him, Tutukunu, David Willemse, I think those are your big players. As they go to Gus McCarthy on the line to Leinster, and into the midfield, Kellen Doris will get another carry once again into the forms of Paul Davies this time, and Evan Ruiz in the trenches. He needs to get into the trenches today. There's Evan Ruiz. He needs to go and get himself, do a lot of dirty work as Gibson Park goes to the boot once again, swirling a little bit in the air, and a miscommunication between the Stormers players comes forward off the left player. Emma Khan goes to the boot, and will be advantage only. Silly to have a clash like that between the Stormers players. This time, the kick from Prendergast goes into the hands of David Willemse. So he's going to line up a touch finder here, try and pin them back a bit. And interesting to see, John Dobson spoke about the fact that they have a template of how they want to play against Leinster. And now these first few minutes, we're going to really be able to understand what that template is. How do they want to play? But, I mean, over here, you've got Leon Zas, David Willemse jumping into each other. You can't have those sort of situations. Those are the kind of mistakes you cannot be making in the early stages of this game. You've got to settle in. You've got to start well. You've got to get into early momentum. And, you need to get some good moments. So, here we go. So, good solid start. Once again, another good line there from the Leinster forward pack. But this time, Kellen Doris actually caught on the ball. Andrew Hugo Fenton prevents him getting the offload away as well. So, solid tackle in the midfield. Once again, Leinster immediately going to go to the boot here as Gibson Park shapes for his box kick. Lifted high in there. Hasn't got a lot of distance. This will be contestable. This time, David Williams, Leon Zass is there by himself. Almost takes it up, but knocked backwards. In fact, knocked forwards is the call from Holly Davidson. So, he will have an early scrum here. And this is going to be an interesting battle. We're going to have Netlin Bashir, who has Springbok aspirations, up against Andrew Porter, Thomas Clarkson, and Ntutuko Tunu. Might yet see against each other in international rugby sometime. And you can just see that as he tries to come down, I thought it was initially backwards, but Holly Davidson reckoning that was forward from Leon Zasta. We will have an early scrum on the far right-hand side over here. And I think that if the Stormers are going to contend today, needs to be good set pieces. Those are one of the few things that they got to make sure they get right. They cannot hope to win if they're not going to have a strong scrum. They're not going to have a strong line out. So this is an early opportunity to settle in, get a nice hit. Maybe you try and even see if you can get some ascendancy against an all-Irish scrum. I mean, it'll be impressive if they manage to do it, given the fact that every single player in this line in this this Leinster pack, I think I'm sure I think Max Dean does have caps has played for Ireland. So it's not the start they would have liked, though, because they have conceded a penalty against Italy. Bashir's already got a cut on his face. So not the start that after all that kind of thing. That's what I'm saying that they can't afford to have. They can't afford to have Leinster dominating the scrum. And Sam Prendergast will go to touch, and it's not a bad touch finder either. About 10 meters out, Italy Bashir having a conversation with Holly Davidson. Interesting call there. I mean, Porter's gone down, and I think Bashir is a bit frustrated with that call. Andrew Porter been under a bit of scrutiny in the last, sort of 6 months, where a lot of people saying he's kind of been found out a little bit about some of the tricks and the dark arts that he does in his scrummaging. But Roland Kelleher, very, very accomplished hooker, played for the British and Irish Lions. They have two. I'll tell you what, it almost gets there is Evan Roos. I think there's a couple of knock-ons over there, so it'll be a knock-on advantage here. But a very good contest in the line-out from the Stormers, and then coming through the ruck, and it will be another scrum. But I like the intent. It's good intensity here from the Stormers at line time there. Also, he was watching. A big welcome to Damien Carolyn, who joined the Members Club earlier. And if you'd like to join the Members Club and join our WhatsApp community, check out the links in the description as well as the pinned comments. You can come and get involved in our WhatsApp community, which is going to be where we drop a lot of exclusive content, as well as some early drops of some of the things we're working around in the background, and also running a lot of polls and basically letting the people on the WhatsApp community kind of sort of shape a lot of the content and stuff that we do here. So do consider joining as they pack down for the scrum and showing your support for the channel too, because at the end of the day, the more support you give us, the more we can give you and enable you guys to take you closer to the game ever. We've got a massive project at the moment, which we are hoping to launch soon, and that's going to hopefully be a bit of a game changer for the Springbok fan. Once again, pretty solid at this stage. Not much, and Gibson Park goes himself, brings in, I think it was O'Brien over there. Now Max Deegan fighting strong. Now to the right-hand side, early opportunity here for Leinster to try and open the scoreboard. And very important here that Stormers remain disciplined and sort of show their defensive abilities. So a couple of nice hits coming in. They need to have a good start here and a good defensive set. Inside ball there from Prendergast back to Thomas Clarkson. Gives the Parks an option, goes to McCarthy, front foot ball. He's got Andrew Porter behind him. Now Caelan Doris, big hit coming on him, but good momentum here. And lost from the field, then loses it forward into the hands of Rowan Nell, who comes away with it. Very, very, that's a little early victory. Small win there for Stormers. You've got to try and win the small battles, and that's already a win as Yuri Mattia looks to clear and will find touch just past the 22. But that again, a mistake from Leinster. You tick that thing, right, cool, we won that passage of play. Start building those sort of small wins, because the more you do that, the more you can get those small wins, the longer you can instead of stay in the fight and potentially try and come away with a win. This would be, inverted commas, I wouldn't say necessarily a shock win. I mean, it's the top 4 sides in the URC, but it would be an upset. There's no doubt about it. A Stormers win would be an upset. Now, Stormers played some very good rugby to begin with the season, and a man that was pivotal to that was the man in the number 10 jersey. Yuri Mattia started the season so well. So, whilst they've been missing Stash Finally, James Lowe brings in Hugo Keenan. I think Yuri Mattia is a very talented young fly half, and I think that he could really up his stocks if he has a solid game today. Ronan Kelleher caught in the ball by Netlin Bashir. We Leinster working their way down the right-hand side, just side the 22. Rico Awani gets his first touch. Difficult to miss these days. Rico Awani with that blonde hair of his, having a sabbatical at Leinster this past season, like Geordie Barrett had last season. Interesting to see which All Black does this next season. Now back to the left-hand side, this time to Caelan Doris. Met well in the tackle once again. Connor Evans and Paul de Villiers. Now Gibson Park looking to snipe. A huge tackle that on Jamie Osborne, who's driven back. So good defense so far from the Stormers. But now a bit of space down the right-hand side. knock-on advantage, I think, or potentially penalty advantage. I'm not quite sure which Hollies, but there is some sort of advantage here for Leinster as they enter the 22. Gibson Park flings it out to Porter. Porter to the back to Prendergast. Prendergast to Osborne. Now space out wide. Rico Awani trying to get across here is... and he's gone straight through as Rico Awani. Well, that's not the start you want to do if you're the Stormers. Initially, a really good defensive passage to play, but they had the overlap. And as soon as Prendergast managed to get that ball out to Osborne, Osborne running towards so much space. And, yeah, you can't get that kind of space. Rico, I mean, this is a man who I think if he had stayed on the wing would have broken many an All Blacks try-scoring record. But far too many players get sucked in. Similani's starting to get across here, as is Ben Jason Dixon. And there's just such a big overlap. And they had a man outside. I mean, that was going to be a try one way or another. So not the start Stormers would have wanted. Leinster get their first try within the first 10 minutes. And this is where it gets very dangerous as Leinster. Because when they score early, they can go on to put some big numbers up. And his first kick of the match here from Prendergast. We saw a bit of a disaster class kicking show from Andre Pollard earlier for the Bulls. I'll expect both of these two flower halves to probably have better returns today in the form that they are currently showing. Right, so early on, 7-0. And you can just see the rush defense is not quite working that way for Leinster. There'll be a frustration in the coaching box. But as soon as that pass goes into Jamie Osborne wrapping around, there's the overlap. Gibson and Ben Jason Dixon desperately trying to get across. I just see the similarity. Doesn't want to commit to Rico Awani because of the man outside. And it's just a numbers game at the end of the day by the time they get out wide. So 9.5 minutes on the clock here. And it looks like David Williams has got a bit of a blood nose there. All right, cool. We're happy to restart you. Yuri Mateo gets back underway. Down the left-hand side once again. That's pretty deep up towards the touchline. Ball back inside to Caelan Doris. And Gibson Park now will look to clear. And look to find touch and does. Good exit that from Leinster. Good follow-up. I always talk about the fact that your restarts are a very underrated part of your game. That you need to make sure you follow up a try or the likes of that with a solid restart, because if you don't, then you kind of just might as well not have scored. Not quite necessarily want to score the try, but it's as important as far as I'm concerned. Right to the right-hand side. Yuri Mateo looking for the cross kick over there. Similani's nice and wide, but it's well read by Hugh Keenan, who then runs it into touch. And Gibson and David Williams thinking about taking it quickly. Not a bad cross kick that from Yuri Mateo. Definitely had a couple of them guessing. Right, ball to the back. That's completely miscommunicated. Andre Hugo Fenter really needs to work on his line-out work. And I mean, the entire Stormers pack wasn't even ready. And all of a sudden, they're on the back foot here because he's throwing the ball straight over the back of the line-out. Now Hugo Keenan goes past the 10-meter line. Not a good start here from Stormers. Worrying, really, actually, at how bad of a start this is. Because if you're not at the races early on, Leinster will put 20, 30 points on you very quickly. And then you're not coming back. And they're already back on the front foot here. Prendergast, McCarthy, Clarkson well wrapped up. Evan Ruiz getting through a lot of defensive work here. Jamie Osborne now. Gives the Parks a bit of space on the left-hand side. Goes straight to Max Deegan. He gets back to his feet. Eventually brought down by Connor Evans. Now to the right-hand side. Caelan Doris, but well read that from Netley Bashir. On McCarthy. Gibson Park to the right side. James Lowe. James Lowe goes himself. Wrapped up by Andre Hugo Fenter. Evan Rose looking to try and get over unsuccessful to the right side. Prendergast, not much on, goes to the boot. This is quite deep, so Leon Zaz should be able to try and mark this, but no. Damien Williams gets up and it goes back towards Josh van der Fleer, but there is a knock on from Leinster. So it will be a scrum for Stormers, who at the moment are under a lot of pressure. And you can't defend like this for 80 minutes either. That becomes very unsustainable. Yeah, Hugo Keenan there, the ball coming off his hand and moving forward. So far we've had 2 scrums. One was a penalty for Leinster. The other one was pretty solid. So far, 85% of possession, 84% territory to Leinster. Now, those are stats that are going to have to change very quickly if the Stormers want to get back into the game. You cannot chase the game, or you can't play this kind of game. You can't give Leinster a stupidly large amount of the ball and expect to be able to compete. It just doesn't work. So an opportunity now for, I mean, the Stormers, this is where they need like a penalty at the scrum time here. They need something to kind of get them going. Right, there's the set. And it goes straight down. Penalties to the Stormers. Now, that's what I said. There we go. That's a small victory there. And it's on, I think it's on Haley's side. I think it's against Andrew Porter. It went straight down as soon as the ball went in. Came in from Imran Khan. Needs to find touch. Good touch finder. And we'll find touch by just shy of the halfway line. Or Yuri Matia. Yeah, and that's the look of a tight head, nearly sheer blood all over his face. It's after the 10-meter line, yeah. Now, Andrew Hugo Fenter has to get the line out right here. He cannot be throwing balls over and turn over ball and the likes of that. It goes to Connor Evans, Imran Khan now, Yuri Matia. Down the center of the park, Willemse will give chase. And Mammoth, Hugo Keenan, really good tackle there. And Dan, we see big kind of ruck coming here for the Stormers. Where is the ball? Is the case? You can see Dan Willemse being frustrated with the fact they didn't manage to quite counter ruck. It's available for Gibson Park. That's a nice tackle there from Andrew Hugo Fenter, getting up nice and quickly on James Ryan. Good, that's much better from Stormers. Yes, it's a turnover ball, but they've had a really, really good hit there from Damian Willemse. Good counter ruck, not quite successful. Our ball over the top from Gibson Park. Yuri Matia, he's tackled and loses the ball forward. Oh no, Gibson Park's gone straight through the middle. Gibson Park. Oh, Imran Khan trying with the ankle tap, not quite completed. Now he runs into Ronan Killer here. One player over, but referee says leave it, says Holly Davidson. Prendergast, options across the field, goes to Gus McCarthy. Back inside, Rico Awani. Tackle comes from Ben Jason Dixon. Back to the right hand side, not the best pass, but Keller pops it up quickly to Keller here. It's Deegan, in fact. Here's Keller here. Penalty advantage, and this looks like try written all over it. Stormers need to rally and try and set themselves here. Here's Andrew Porter. Killer here. Awani steps back inside. Good tackle from Dan Duplessis. Paul de Villiers on the ball. They go back for the penalty. And this is where I said you got to make sure that you don't allow Jamison Gibson Park to get into the game. If Gibson Park starts finding gaps, Gibson Park starts dictating play, he's one of the best of the world today. In terms of controlling the tempo, very few scrum halves can control the tempo like Gibson Park can. He's got such good decision making, and they're going to take the 3 points here, I think. And why not? Why wouldn't you? You've got an early 7 points, add an extra 3, start building a bit of pressure, make sure that Stormers are paying for every mistake that they make. It's good hands, that. Really good hands. Please do smash the like on the video whilst you wait for Prendergast to get his kicking tea in and the likes already. And as I said, please do consider becoming a part of the members club and joining our WhatsApp community. We actually had one of our members on the WhatsApp community at Murrayfield posting some photos and saying apparently a lot of the Glasgow Warriors fans not happy with the referee don't quite think you can blame the ref, as he said, if you don't score in the second half, and I think he's quite right, although I think the Bulls also did everything they can to try and lose the game. But Prendergast keeps his head down, and it splits the polls. Leinster take a 10-point lead through the 17-minute mark, and Stormers at the moment under a lot of pressure. And we coach to switch the coach there. You got Leo Cullen in the coaching box. Jacques Nienaber will be around after a pretty explosive interview. If you haven't seen it, go check out our video on the Jacques Nienaber press conference where he basically went on. And now you see, this is what I'm saying. You cannot make mistakes like that. Yuri Matias kicked this ball dead. You'll be a scrum on the halfway line, and that's where you can't make mistakes. When you're under this kind of pressure, and then you compound that by kicking it out in the full. So now you're going to have to try and see if his front row can bail him out of here for Yuri Matias, because scrum in the front on the halfway line. I mean, to be fair, a penalty here is probably within Sam Prendergast's range. So imagine they get a scrum here and they take an extra 3 points, and they basically got a free, inverted commas, 3 points from it. But the Stormers are coming on the back of a scrum and penalty. It's interesting to see that Holly Davidson's now got to the other side, so she'll be watching Intuka Tunu and Thomas Clarkson. But so far, Stormers have missed 8 tackles. Leinster have only been asked to make 2. And it's almost 20 minutes. That's the kind of pressure that Leinster can put on you. It's gone straight down once again. We have another reset. Going to be messy scrums here, I think. Very, very messy scrums. Yeah, there's the conversation with it, because we've yet to really have a proper scrum. We've had one where it kind of kept a little bit of structure, but everything else, it's been messy. Very, very messy. So Holly Davidson having a conversation. Wouldn't surprise me if she's got the whistle for the final. There cannot be, there's no Scottish side in it, so will be a neutral. Gibson Park waste to feed. Well, it's a pretty big scrum. Neatly for shit. Penalty advantage here for Leinster. And Ioane got a bit of space. Ioane picks up to James Lowe. James Lowe. Imad Khan. He goes straight back into Industry the Similani. But no advantage over from Holly Davidson. So back to the halfway line they go for the penalty. Right, that is 2 scrum penalties, Leinster. 1 scrum penalty for the Stormers. Similani for sure. He felt the advantage should have been over. He just intercepted on the 22. A bit of inaccuracy that from Leinster, but it was a free hit after that penalty advantage. And what I think he is going down to try or is he going to kick to the corner? I think he's kicking to the corner. Yeah, it's Prendergast. It's not gone particularly far. It'll be about the 22. Decided to play a bit safe here, Sam Prendergast. But down is Andrew Porton, receiving a bit of treatment. Oh, he's a bit groggy. Yeah, that's not a great the way he stood up. Yeah, he's going to be off here. I think that's his ankle has gone here for Andrew Porter. So I think it'll be an early substitution. That's a pretty big moment actually in this game. Initial really good shove. And I think he's done his ankle here, Andrew Porter. So it's going to be an early substitution here for Leinster. And Alex Usanov was going to have to carry the rest of that scrum. So this is an opportunity now for the Stormers. Because if anyone's watching and they're taking one look at Alex Usanov, yes, he is indeed as young as he does look. The 20-year-old loosehead, not particularly experienced, especially when you think that he's replacing Andrew Porter, who is plenty of experience, one of the most experienced looseheads out there. He's played, I think, 5 games or so for Leinster, has Alex Usanov. So this is a big test now for him, and Nettling Bashir will need to really do a job on him so that when the likes of Zachary Portman comes on later, he can kind of really get into his work. Gibson Parker pops it up to Kellen Doris. Leinster back on the front foot. Stormers still haven't made Leinster make a third tackle. That's going to be a high tackle. Penalty advantage. That'll be 13-0. And this is what I think John Dobson was basically saying. You can't make those kind of mistakes. So penalty advantage here for Leinster. And this is just a result of the relentless pressure so far in the first 22 minutes. Gibson Park to the right-hand side. Now Gibson, Ben Jason Dixon stayed down. Now he's all back to his feet. Osborne pops it short to Similane, but once again, it is a penalty advantage, and this is in front of the pole. So this will be another easy 3-pointer, and it's all just a little bit too easy so far from Leinster. Yeah, it's just silly from RJ Smith. Far too upright. Prendergast has fetched his kicking tee. So far, 5 points from a possible 5 off the boot here from Sam Prendergast, looking to make it 8 points now. And no mistakes from Prendergast. 13 points to 0. Stormers need to start scoring. It's important. In fact, Stormers just need to hop at the ball. I don't think Stormers will know what to do right now if they got the ball, such as the dominance so far of Leinster. Same sort of, this time Mateta does not make the mistake. Same area that he was aiming at initially down that left-hand side. But turn the ball here. Paul de Villiers got a bit of space. Pops it up to Ewan now. Now can the Stormers hit back? Imad Khan. Evan Ruiz slows it forward. Can't be doing that. Just as they had been asked to make the third tackle. Knock-on from Stormers. Leinster with a knock-on advantage. Back on their 5-meter line. I mean, to be fair, this could yet be a net victory for the Stormers, because he will find touch and it'll be a line out by the 22. Not a bad end result, but you just want to make them play a bit more. So 13-0, 25 minutes to go. Stormers were to score now to convert a try. They're right back in the mix. So they haven't been blown away so far. But the reason I've sort of sounded a bit so negative is they just haven't touched the ball. It's been one-way traffic so far. But now they've got an opportunity to start putting their own mark on the match. RJ Smith looking for the rolling more here, Stormers. Now off the back goes Andrew Hugo Fenter. And they've lost the ball. I don't know. They've just, the ball basically stopped watching. And this, you see, 50-50, as the comment is saying, 50-50 balls all going the way of Leinster at the moment. And a penalty advantage for, I think, offside. So it's an early opportunity butchered. And turnover ball now with the advantage. Circling in the air there. Taken by Leon Zas. There's a knock-on advantage. The Stormers will retain this. Right, here comes Leinster tackle number 4. Need to hold the ball a bit here, do Stormers, and ask some questions. Show and go from Andrew Hugo Fenter. Can't. To the left-hand side now. Paul de Villiers has decided to chip ahead. Why? Just why? You've barely had the ball. You are wearing the number 6 jersey. What are we doing chipping the ball in behind? Don't understand that. I really, really don't. Well, that has come off a Leinster foot, though. So it actually has worked out. I'm not going to apologize for the criticism, because I still think it was a bit needless. But concern, yeah, another injury. Josh van der Fleer's down, and they lose him. And that would mean 2 first-half replacements here for Leinster. Usanov's still on the park. And Jack Conan being ready. I mean, what a nice replacement to be able to have. You've got Rabbi Slimani there as well. You've got Gary Ringrose watching on. I mean, some absolute world-class players on the Leinster bench. But your bench impact definitely does get reduced if they have to come on earlier. What a season Emma Khan's having. A bit of a breakthrough season for him. That injury to Kubas Rana, always some of the... You never want someone to get injured, but when they do, it's really cool to see someone take their chance, get an opportunity, get some game time. And Emma Khan's always been very highly rated as front of leg gets heavily strapped on his ankle. So he looks like he will continue. Emma Khan having a conversation with Holly Davidson. And it will be a Stormers line-out when we do resume. Andrew Hugo Fenter currently with ball in hand. It's actually his knee that's being strapped here, which is never good because I think, you can strap a knee, but I never feel like ankles, I think, are easy to sort of strap. You kind of really sort of strap them in place and off you go. Knees, yeah, never entirely convinced that the strap is going to do. Now, Mason need to get off the field, yeah. They're taking the line there. Hugo Fender goes flat to Evan Lewis, who's is still busy trying to catch the ball as he goes into contact, but nice to carry that. Emma Khan now into Tunu. There's the big, and it runs straight towards Prendergast. Good hands now, good hands. Bit of space, and a bit of space up for Similani. Similani, ball back aside too. David Villas are looking for options. They're 5 meters out. Great hands up from the Stormers. Emma Khan now. Paul de Villiers. Offside is the call. Stormers need to make this count. Emma Khan now. Options. Goes to Mattia. Mattia goes to the cross kick. Ben Jason Dixon, I don't even think he picked it up. He actually had to dive towards it, but we're going to go back for the penalty just as Ben Jason Dixon had thrown off the play. He had dropped it forward, though, so it would never have counted in the first place. But that, I'll tell you, that's much better from the Stormers. Good hands, bit of space inside, and Dane Willems was just desperately looking for that final touch. The line break comes here. Similani steps back as well, back inside to Dane Willems, and he's just trying to find that offload. And Matthias cross kick. Not quite pinpoint, but also Ben Jason Dixon did react very, very late. I don't think he picked it up initially. But tap and go here coming from the Stormers. Under Hugo Fenter, Paul de Villiers, RJ Smith, and Ben Jason Dixon. It is going to be Under Hugo Fenter. Going to set the first one. Josh van der Vliers over there. But missed it. Emma Khan now. Around the corner comes into Tuka Tunu. Pick up and go from RJ Smith. And he reaches. I think he's got there, He has got there. What a carry that is. Well, there's the response from the Stormers. Much needed response. First time really in the 22, and they've made it count. And that'll give them a lot of confidence. That's also what the significance of that kind of try is. It's one thing when you just score the points, but you can't underestimate how important it is from a confidence point of view to go to the 22, get a try, and you think, actually we're in this. Actually, we can compete here. So yeah, that's what the comment is saying. That's what I mentioned. The pickup there on the run there just gives them that advantage. Now, Yuri Mattia, there's one thing you need to do today, chap. You need to kick well, and that is not a good start. You see, that's not even that difficult of a kick. 13-7 is a completely different game to 13-5. At 13-7, a converted try puts you into the lead. Around the corner, pick up and on the run as well, and then the reach. Really good work there from RJ Smith. They rate him highly, do the Stormers. He's got that dirty side to him, unfortunately, which has got him into quite a bit of trouble over the years. But 13-5, the Stormers get the points on the board. That's a silly kick to miss, though, from Yuri Mattia. Prendergast goes to the right-hand side from the restart. Looks like Evan Lewis, and in fact, yeah, there's cheapest big tackle coming from Jimmy O'Brien. Good chase there. And now Emma Khan lifts to the high shoot. Leon Zass after it. Leon Zass comes back into the hands of Andrew Hugo Fenter. Turn over ball here for the Stormers. Quick ball here from Emma Khan. Mattia, once again, go to that right-hand side. They've obviously decided that's the play here. And Similani is after it. James Lowe spilled it forward. And that's exactly what the Stormers would have wanted there. Pressure on James Lowe. He spilled it forward. Good chase that from Similani. And all of a sudden, momentum switched a little bit here. Stormers now feeling a little bit of confidence. and you get a scrum penalty, something here, and all of a sudden you can look at a point. This is much better from the Stormers. After trying to weather the storm, they conceded that try, conceded 2 penalties, but it's a good chase here from Leon Zas initially. Comes backwards off into the hands of Andrew Hugo Fenta, immediately goes to the cross kick there. Rico Wine is backpedaling. James Lowe doesn't quite commit. So you see, that's the problem. He really shifts to almost get away from Similani, and then Similani's there and actually knocks the ball out of his hand. So doesn't commit, does James Lowe. John Dobson looking like a scene out of a call center there with his. I mean, you'd think that like at this level we might have a better headset than the classic like Logitech thing. Edge Porter can only watch on early replacement there, and now we're going to see what Niat Livashir can do to young Alex Usanov. Oh no, the scrum initially went good, and I think it's going to be a reset here from Holly Davidson. It literally looked good, and then the ball was kicked to the Leinster side, so it will be another Stormers put in. Cross says, do you think Sasha will play against England? No, I think that sounds like Sasha could be done for a while, to be fair. I don't think that's a short-term injury. I think that is greatest rivalry to a question marks. Definitely not England, as far as I understand. And at Seven Ashiki saying, supporting Stormers is a hard thing. Well, try to support the Lions. 9 minutes left in the first half. Stormers were to score here. Convert a try, puts them 1 point behind at half time, and they'll be very, very tough with that. They do seem to have wrestled back a bit of momentum. Let's see if Niat Livashir can put some pressure on the 20-year-old. It's gone down there. No penalty advantage. Khan goes to Dan du Plessis. Dan du Plessis. Solid first carry. Quick ball here from Khan. Evan Lewis coming around the corner. Khan to Mattia. Mattia steps back inside. Now Smith pops it up to Willemsen. Willemsen with a bit of space. Good take that from Dan du Plessis. Now Similani steps inside. Pops it up. Does well to hold on to that, does Dan du Plessis. Ball available for Khan on the 22. Now Evan Lewis. Inside ball! You got Fenta to back to Emma Khan. Good line break that. Finding 10 meters to the Stormers. Ball available for Lewis. Starting it out to Mattia. Space out wide. This is where Similani can find a bit of room. Paul de Villiers. Oh, you can see Similani pointing. Ben Jason Dixon still going. Inside the 22. Stormers on the front foot. RJ Smith, the try scorer. Emma Khan, options. Willemsen, Khan, hold on. Well, Instuko's going to go over, but I think it's gone forward in the process. It's a great ball back inside from to Emma Khan, and then just this pop up from Paul de Villiers. That's been Jason Dixon. Getting checked there as Ronan Kelleher will resume with a scrum. I'll tell you what, James Ryan's also getting a check there. They both seem to be fine, but a bit worrying that Leicester have had so many players down throughout the first half. And you feel it's a big lot. It's a big miss there for the Stormers. They scored a try there. That puts them right back into the game, and I think gives them the momentum. So Gibson Park with the ball in hand. So far, Usanov held up in that first scrum. Impressive Emmett Carton, though, once again. They started strong here today. Been very good defensively as well, which is very important for any scrum off, but particularly for the box. They really do value the defensive contributions of scrum offs. Right, so scrum just past the 5 meter line here. And penalty for the Stormers right in front. Well, decision time even maybe. And Nsuka Kunu has won that. Now, what do they do? What do they do? They can take an easy 13 points to 8. That's 5 points in the game. Not much in that. Do they look at the quick tap and try for the try? Shot call is I'm not surprised, to be honest. I don't think it's the worst decision. Although I do feel that you need to... I can just see the hit so good then. Just completely folds locks and folds like a deck chair. Smithy Kent says, stuck at the airport. Thanks for the coverage. Anytime. Hope you hit the like button. I feel like it's the least you can do if we're providing it's a little service for you there. And you can see a couple of Stormers fans and a decent amount of travellers over there watching on. A couple of Bok jerseys over there. Good to see. Good to see. Right, 13 points to 8. 5 points in it and 5 minutes left in the first half. It's a high hanger for Evan Roos. Good chase coming in that from Jimmy O'Brien, but Evan Roos does take it well. Imran Khan under a bit of pressure. We'll look to set up a ruck here, and it's on Andrew Hugo Fenter. Ball available for Khan. Waits for a blocker in the form of Connor Evans. And Leon Zass after it. Ball bobbles, and Dan Duplessis. No, pulled out of it as far as I think. I think there could potentially be a... Oh, taking it quickly as Gibson Park. To the left-hand side, Gibson Park goes, looking for options. Brought down just short of the 22. Prendergast goes to Keller here. Now Leinster trying to get back into an attacking rhythm here. Osborne comes back inside. Pops up to Gibson Park. Gibson Park to the right side. Prendergast says, nope, we're going to go to the left-hand side. Hugo Keenan now. Chip over the top from Prendergast. It's a bit too deep, and I think Mattia will very, very easily dump that down. I'm not sure that was really the right play, to be honest, for Prendergast. I don't think it was on. Stormers definitely won't be complaining. I mean, I think that's really poor from Keenan, to be honest, to go down the way he did from that half. I mean, he even pulls out of the tackle. I think it's actually poor. Right, deep restart there to Osborne. Osborne pops it up to Caelan Doris. Caelan Doris lines up a couple of defenders. Solid tackle there coming from Connor Evans. In fact, it's RJ Smith. Let's try to score to the right-hand side. Josh van der Fleer now with that strapped-up knee. We're looking all right. Gibson Park, slow ball. Looks to the left-hand side. Caelan Doris pops up to Prendergast. Long pass out wide. James Lowe. His hands off. Similani far too easily. Ball back inside. And it's going to potentially be just 5 minutes out here, Leinster. Can't slip tackles like that. It's the biggest problem with Similani's game is its defense. Now, is he over the ball? No, it's turn over the ball. Penalty. Hands beyond the ball, says the referee. RJ Smith doesn't agree. But penalty on the 5 meter line here for Leinster. And with 2.5 minutes to go, why not have a pop it into the corner and have a go? I think that's exactly all potential. No, tap and go. Yeah, Ronan Kelly's got ball in hand. Not sure why it's such a hooker thing to the tap and go. There is Ronan Kelly here. And ball available for Josh van der Fleer. Bit of a set move, but really well read from the Stormers. Pick up and go, just short once again. And they've got a penalty advantage. They lose it forward, does Rico Wine, but they'll go back for the penalty. Stormers discipline is going to be the death of them to this evening. Yeah, so just clarifying that penalty against Arthur Smith for going over was ruled no. Always got to ask the question as the captain. But a bit of a team talk coming between Leinster, and I think that they're going to look for the line out here. That's a really, I mean, it's a good handle, but it's poor defense that from Similani. It's far too easy. It's good cover defense. The fact that they didn't concede there is good, but they're going to try another tap and go. This time they have to give some parks on it, and here comes the shift for Leinster. Doris now, first receiver. Leinster on the doorstep here. Try for half time will be the last thing Stormers need. Play on. There's the call from Holly Davison. No penalty advantage here. Josh van der Fleer, though, is just short. Ball available. Pick up and go. Also just short. Good defense so far from Stormers. Now Usanov, has he gotten all the way? No, he's not. Game of inches right here. Another tap and go. Pick up and go rather. And you got McCarthy's freed his hand. Has he freed his hand? Or is he short? They're piling in there. The ball's available for Gibson Park. Now they want to swing it across to Prendergast. Prendergast goes himself. It's a good tackle coming from Imar Khan of all people. Big counter-rack coming from the Stormers. Huge counter-rack from the Stormers. They have the match turn it over. They have indeed. And now it's space for Similani. He's going to hack it ahead and chase it himself. That's brilliant from the Stormers. It's a phenomenal kick. Goodness me, that's good. Similani's put them back towards the 10-meter line. Well, that's how you make amends for that missed tackle. That is brilliant. It's brilliant from Imran Khan. It's brilliant from the Stormers at counter-rack. It's phenomenal from Similani with that kick. Goes to decides to carry himself. Imran Khan up for the challenge. Brings him down. Matia decides to help out. And then big counter-rack coming through. And Similani, I don't think he actually wanted to kick that all the way out, but it's a really good kick. It really is. Bit of a banana kind of vibes. Right, 13 points to 8. The clock has gone red. Leinster, do you want to play, though? Osborne. What Stormers need now is like a little intercept try. Go ahead of the break. Long pass out Prendergast, and Card once again is there for Max Deegan, and he should be bundled out. No, he throws it back in. Ball available just inside the half. Back and Prendergast says, no, we've had enough here. So into the, I think it's a moral victory, to be honest. I think the Stormers will almost arguably be the happier side going into halftime. Halftime score, 13 points to 5. Game is very much in the balance. Imran Khan's down receiving treatment. That's not good given how good he has been in that first half. But we'll be back very shortly after halftime. Please don't go away. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. During halftime, we're going to hear from Jan Ackerman, who gave his press conference a bit earlier after watching after getting to the final. So we're going to watch that during halftime, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Thanks indeed. Annemie, go for it.
Thank you, Clinton. Baie geluk, Johan. That was very nerve-wracking probably for you. I presume a question on all our lips is what was said at halftime?
Hello, Annemie. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm very grateful, and obviously thank the Lord for spoiling us with this victory, and just His grace. I think credit to the leaders of the team. Halftime, a lot of the senior guys stood up and said, that we can't control the result, but we can control if we're going to go in ourselves or do we going to play hard. Then my only thing was, guys, we 21-10 down. I only ask one thing: let's go score the first try. If we score the first try and it's 21-17, then we're in the game. And the boys responded to that. They went out and we scored the first try, and then we saw the belief. But overall, the whole 80 minutes, although there was obviously not a good period in the first half, the boys, I'm proud of the character they showed.
It seemed like one troubling aspect of your game, especially in the first half, was your midfield defense. Is that something that's a bit worrying for you as you head into the final?
We'll review it and we'll look at it. Obviously we had 2 yellow cards as well, so it does put a bit of strain on you, and especially when Andre went off, they exploited it quite well at the back. So it's something we'll look at. You must also credit Glasgow. They do run that launches of them very well, but it's definitely something we'll try and fix, Anami.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Coming here.
Azadakis, congratulations on the win. You spoke yesterday about the belief there. I take it that was the same belief that was in the coaching box when you guys were 21-3 down.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously we knew that we're in a fight, and I think we were disappointed in some of our breakdown work, and we were, and the 2, like I just said, the 2 yellow cards didn't help. Glasgow is a quality attack team, and if you've got people, a player short, you'll always struggle a bit. But the belief was there. We felt if we can still score a try. We felt it before halftime. We couldn't. We got penalized at the ruck, and then that was, like I said to Anami now in the message, was if we can score first. I think if they scored and it went to 28, it would have been a massive mountain to climb. But we just felt that we can get a bit of momentum. So I won't lie, it obviously looked daunting when they kept on scoring those 2 tries from a coaching point of view. But the big thing was for us to score first and just get the belief back.
And because I suppose the thing is as well, I mean, this was never going to be a pretty win after that 21-3. You guys had to claw your way back. But maybe a word on some of the leaders in the teams, guys like Krobbies and Cameron, Ruan for Mark. There's some really guys who really put in some big performances there on the field for you guys.
Yeah, if you look at our forwards, had to work extremely hard, especially with again, like I said, with the 2 yellow cards. And we still, that try that we scored to make it 21-10 was important, and it was a grind. We scored, Marshall scored, was disallowed, then we had to grind again. Our scrum was very good tonight, and so the forwards had to work extremely hard. And then second half, I felt our bench, every player that came on made a difference. And again, maybe that it's credit to how each player has taken up his role and and contributed to that. So I think it was overall a team performance. And I said to the players now afterwards, it's credit even to the players who didn't play, preparing the team and giving the energy. So I think it was just a great performance from the boys.
Last one from me, just where does this rank? I know you've had a lot of good wins in your career, but in terms of just overall emotionally, where does this rank for you now?
No, this must be right at the top. I mean, I can just, like I said, I'm lost for words. Actually, felt to me like I couldn't believe the whistle went and we won. To be fair, because we really showed so much commitment tonight. The players, I'm so proud of the team. I want to thank the Lord. He's really blessing us, and it's a privilege to be part of this team and this occasion. And the comeback is special, Brendan. I won't lie, because they were really playing good rugby, and Franco has got a team now together for 4 years, and they a quality team, and therefore this is probably one of the best victories I had. Just the character that the guys showed.
Thanks, Marcus. Go enjoy the celebrations tonight.
Thank you.
Jan de Koning.
Thanks, Linton. Veel geluk, Johan. Johan, if we start, obviously you said yesterday 1 point win would be good enough, which you did, but I'm sure Andre Pollard's probably going to pay a few penalties tonight.
Hello, Jan. No, Andre's just said in the team talk now he's going to practice his goal kicking a bit. No, I mean, yeah, we can smile now. We got that 1 point more than them, and that's the thing. But obviously, you know, Andre, one game that he missed won't make him a bad player in that sense. But you know, we're just lucky that it didn't influence the result. In actual fact, one of the coaches made the comment, it kept Glasgow in their half, even the misses. So in that sense, it was you can always look at the positive, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, you know, you look at the fight that the guys showed and the tries they scored, and it, you know, luckily the kicks didn't count at the end.
Yeah, and I know there were 2 yellow cards in the first half, but there did seem some adjustment on defense. You seem to, I know it might have been subtle, but you did change your defensive pattern, which sort of kept the roving, that loop around play of theirs in check.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was for us to stay connected and to have a good tackle fight. And the second guy, you know, slow the ball a bit down, and then we can have time to scan and make decisions. I think we adjusted a little bit on the short side, our defense, where they got a bit of award. But, you know, there wasn't major things. I think just the guys knew that if, again, you know, the mistakes, it was in our control. And if we fix that, we can keep them at bay. And the most important thing was that we, you know, got momentum back on our side. They had a lot of momentum in that first half. We got a little bit back when it went to 10, but the second half we needed to score first, and we did that. And yeah, the boys showed with the ball and without the ball a lot of character.
Yeah, last one from me. I know you've been in a few finals, so you got experience of this. What do you do for the next? I know there's a break now, so it's 2 weeks. What do you do in the next 2 weeks? You can't really practice. How do you keep the guys busy and keep them up for the final?
Yeah, we'll see who we play and where we play, and once we know that, I think if we play Leinster, it's a Friday final. If we play the Stormers, it's a Saturday final. That will obviously influence our planning on training days. When we train, do we have to fly? Where do we have to fly to? And so on. And then we'll plan that. We've got two possible scenarios that we're waiting to finalize. How are we going to deal with the next 2 weeks? But once we know the result of the next semi-final, we'll put the plan in place. But in a sense, Jan, I think it's just to freshen up the players. We are going to go back to South Africa. We're not going to stay here and wait. So we're going to go back to South Africa regardless of where we play. And then we're going to give the boys a few days to recover. And then we'll start planning and building for the final.
Baie dankie, Jan.
Dankie.
Hey, Kobus, thank you. Your turn.
Thanks, Clinton. Akkers, ja, nogmaals geluk met indrukwekkende sege. Wat was jou, julle was voor rustyd, was jy 21-3 agter en toe rustyd was 21-10. Wat was jou boodskap aan die spelers in die kleedkamer gewees?
Die coaches het hulle boodskappe gegee wat ons moet na kyk defensively en op attack. En toe het van die senior spelers gepraat oor ons is in hierdie scenario. Ons het 'n besluit om te maak of ons gaan stil bly en almal in hulle dop gaan kruip en of ons vir mekaar meer gaan speel. En ek dink my grootste boodskap was, ons het voor die tyd gesê, ons is hierso weet om te fight. En al wat ons soek is 1-3. Gee vir ons 1-3 vroeg in die game en vroeg in die tweede helfte en dan vat ons dit van daar af. En hulle het presies gedoen wat ou gevra het. So dis genade en ou is dankbaar daarvoor. En ons daai 3 druk, weet 21-17. Natuurlik was daai ander 3 belangrik om 'n 10 te maak, want daai 3 het weet dit dan sien 'n game, jy's 4 punte agter en dan is enige iets moontlik. En en ons het dit gedoen en toe het ons obviously nog deur die ouens die momentum begin swaai. Soos ek sê, behalwe dat ons voorgekom het ek net gevoel het elke ou wat opgekom het ook 'n verskil gemaak van die bank af op die regte tyd, so ons is dankbaar daarvoor.
Ek net nou uiteraard julle sal vanaand wil fokus op dit wat julle vandag wil of wat julle vandag bereik het. Maar wat beteken dit vir die span? Julle gaan ongeag wat die uitslag is en die ander halfeindstryd gaan julle gaan wegspeel. Wat beteken dit vir julle selfvertroue dat julle span soos die Warriors weg van die huis af kon gewen het in die opbou tot daai eindstryd?
Ja, ek glo ons het baie vertroue uit dit vat, Kobus. Natuurlik het ons nog niks bereik nie. Jy weet, as jy almal sal onthou maar net die spanne wat gewen het, so ou kan nie weg in vervoering raak en weg hardloop met dit nie ons, maar jy ten minste gee jouself 'n kans en ek dink die les wat ons vanaand geleer het is baie keer gaan dinge sleg gaan as jy kalm bly en jouself na jouself kyk en vir mekaar ondersteun, dan kan jy dit draai, jy weet. En ek dink dit sal ons baie hopelik help. Want ou weet nooit hoe die momentum gaan wees in so 'n finaal nie en ons het gewys oor die 80 minute kan soveel goed gebeur. So ja, verseker sal die ouens baie
Welcome back, and the Stormers are 40 minutes away and 5 points away from a place in the final, and it's not a good kickoff at all. It'll end up being all right for the Stormers. They'll have the lineup, but there's a lot to bounce. Leinster, on the other hand, are half an hour or 40 minutes away from a home final for the first time and an opportunity to go back-to-back. And I'll tell you what, I think the Stormers actually went to halftime with a bit of the momentum. That moment over there wouldn't have really helped. In fact, it actually has been touched by the Stormers. So it is going to be a Leinster line-out. Right, and Gibson Park on a bit of pressure. But penalty for the Stormers, and I think is that number 1 for Paul de Villiers? Yeah, I think it is his first turnover of the day. Good defense. They give some Park on a bit of pressure. Tackle comes from Ruin now, and then Paul de Villiers over as doing what he does. That's what Paul de Villiers does. That is where he has just taken the Stormers and set up a regular storm, really. Now that's not going to find touch. You cannot make that kind of mistake. It's too greedy from Yuri Matia, and as a result, they missed an opportunity to have an early line out to get things going. Ball back inside from Prendergast. Ball over the top. Good hands that from the Stormers. And Stukakunu. Ball back inside. Damon Willemse. Strong in the carry. Presents well as well for Imad Khan. Also blocker here does Imad Khan. Ball is swirling. And Gibson Park takes it up the air. Throws it back inside. Space out wide. Prendergast, long pass out wide. And, I tell you what, does that come off of, yeah, I think it's come off James Lowe's boot. Yeah. Yeah, I had a word to say over there. The James Lowe, he didn't agree with that call. And TMO might reverse decision. That has reversed decisions. We definitely came off of Gibson eyeing Similani. And once again, another Leinster player is down. So I just want to make sure that everything's working in the background over here. So Leinster lost Andrew Porter early on. And I mean, so far, Alex Usanov has been all right. In fact, he actually wasn't the one that conceded the try. But they've had a couple of niggles. I mean, Van der Vlier's knee is strapped up. We've had James Ryan get a check. And there's now another injury. I think it's Kalen Doris. Oh, it's his knee. Oh, dear. And I think he knew immediately. His knee goes over here. It's as Paul de Villiers cleans out Gibson Park, he lands on Kalen Doris's knee. He's going to get strapped up to it. I think he's obviously all right. Didn't look good, though, at all. And Dottiger said, did Sam cost him a score there? Maybe save the energy and take the 3 points next time. I think that I don't see why you wouldn't, to be honest. I don't really understand that. And then criminal from Yuri Mattia not to find touch. Chris Carter says, can Damien not kick for corners? Maybe take the pressure off moment for the fly half. He could. Imad Khan could as well. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised. I would, for example, look at that kind of thing. Okay, Andy, no serious. He's got to believe in the comeback or SF final will be great. Let's go Stormers. Hopefully K3 and he enjoyed the game earlier. Right, we're finally ready to get going. Ben Jason Dixon in the number 4 jumper position for the Stormers. RJ Smith, one of the lifters here. Right, ball up in the air from Prendergast. Late call, I think, comes from Willemse. Willemse arrives and he doesn't get the right cue. Keenan takes it cleanly out there. Oh, jeepers, that's a good kick. My word. I don't think it's 22. I think it'll be carried back. But jeepers me, he's pinned them right back into the 22. He just sees the space. So Stormers defensive line inside the 22. And Andrew Hugo Fenter, his line work, if you're going to be brutally honest, was not good enough in the first half. Needs to make sure he's more accurate this half. Okay, and he's saying, Bulls nearly killed me, Stevie, but hell of a comeback. Oh, cool game to watch. Good drive there. Ben Jason Dixon, Imran Khan goes to Evan Ruiz. Gets away from Ronan Kelleher. Good carry that from Evan Ruiz. And now Khan can go to the kick. Was he going to look for the pass back to Mattia? Now he's going to take on the honours himself. And it'll be contestable. Leon Zas. Gibson Park once. It falls back into the hands of Ronan Kelleher. Not off of Gibson Park is what he says. Holly Davidson agrees with him. Otherwise, it would have been a penalty. Now Kellen Doris pops it up. Prendergast. Long pass out wide. And once again, James Lowe will tell you what. Oh, Vince can't quite get his hands free. But turnover ball here. Paul De Villiers pops it up to Andrew Hugo Fent. He's got a bit of space. Past the halfway line. Imad Khan wants quick ball here. Goes to Tuka, pops it up to Mattia. Mattia long pass out towards Similani. Similani's got a good turn of pace. They can't get the offload away though. Good tackle that from Max Deegan. Leon Zas pops up to Yuri Mattia. Mattia gets away from one. Now to the right side. Tuka Kunu sits down. Trying to flare. He does bring him down in the process. Imad Khan wants a blocker here. He wants to go to the boot. And Leon Zas is after this. Up against Jimmy O'Brien. Goes backwards and almost into the hands. I think a couple of Stormers players over there. But Leinster have secured the ball just past their own 10-meter line. Gibson Park goes to the right-hand side. Gibson Park shaping to kick. Willemse spills back into the hands of Paul De Villiers, though. Passes back up to Damien Willemse, who then gets robbed by Josh van der Fleer. Penalty advantage, I think, for Leinster. Holly Davidson seemed to have her arm out. Gibson Leon Zas going for the interception. Knock on is the call from Holly Davidson. I think it's fair. I think he genuinely was trying to go for the interception. Not much structure to this match. Are we going to have a look here? Something of us is in a TMO review. I think we're having a look at this. I'll tell you what, he could be in trouble here. He could be in trouble here, could Leon Zas. They're saying that there's an overlap. I tell you, I think he could be receiving his marching orders. Yep, he is going to receive his marching orders, unfortunately. Right, that's the moment that the Stormers could not afford. It's a yellow card. So there's a whole conversation here between James Ryan, Van Prendergast, Caelan Doris. Stormers down to 14. And Raiden Kelleher is waiting for them to join him. He is past 22. There's going to be a substitution here. Who's coming on here? Here comes Salman Murat, who I imagine will replace Connor. I think it's going to be RJ Smith, doesn't it? Oh, I think it's Connor Evans. That's interesting. Who's gone to 5? Very interesting. So Ben Jason, no, so they said that was for Dixon, but it's Connor Evans who's gone off, and Ben Jason Dixon might go to 5. Actually, I have no idea what they're going to do here. Unless Salman Murat's going to... who knows? Who bloody knows? Bit of a break and play here, trying to sort of a few things out here. Right, pass to the back. Now Gibson Park. Osborne. Oh, splits around it is Max Deegan. Space out wide. Prendergast. Shows the dummy. Still Prendergast. Brought down by Salman Murat. Now big carry that comes from Kelleher. Gets offloaded away to Caelan Doris. Leave it as the call for RJ Smith. He's not entirely happy to have left it. And the ball's gone loose. And we've got very loose. And Emma Khan's come away with it. Emma Khan, has he got the pace? He's away. URC is going to catch him, though, unfortunately, for Emma Khan. Has he got... Oh, he's lost to the side. Turnover ball for Max Deegan. Just didn't have the pace, did Emma Khan. Good pace that from Hugo Keenan. Oh, it's heartbreaking. And then you need a Leon Zas there to be able to support him. Maybe a little bit naive from Emma Khan not to potentially look for support earlier. Turnover ball, yeah. Leinster back on their own 22, though. And now Gibson Park lifts it high in the air. Tested for Damon Willemse, who's up to the challenge and brilliantly taken. I don't know how he's done that. Murat, nice strong carry there. Khan now after that break. And Willemse is after, but he does trip. Is allowed to bounce. Goes back to Prendergast. Now Keenan. Keenan goes himself, and Paul de Villiers is lurking there. He reckons from the side. Holly Davison says, in her words, absolutely. Oh, that's been charged down by Prendergast. And James Lowe's going to have to go take, but offside, I think, is the call. He's kicked into the head of of Gibson Park. Oh, this break over here, and you got to wonder where is the. That's Marcel Tennyson. I think he's desperately trying to get there. Doesn't have the pace. And just if he doesn't lose this, might have been able to pop it up to some of the supporters that are eventually arriving. A little bit dizzy, I think, Gibson Park after being slapped in the face with the rugby ball. Jonks reckon that Leinster are trash and that they are done for even with the extra player. So still a break in play here. As we're waiting for Gibson Parker, who needs to feed a ball into the scrum to receive his treatment. And that's what, as Holly's saying, first come of the half. So what's happened here? So Master Tennyson's come on as well. That's why. So Ben Jason Dixon has gone off. But yeah, it is RJ Smith and Salman Murat. So that's the 4-5 pairing. That's weird. There's no... to take on Ben Jason Dixon off, that's going to be a big impact on the lineup because you don't really have someone. You're just calling the lineouts now. Is Salman Murat going to call the lineout? Strange replacements. It's gone straight down. We have a reset. Anton Stein says Stormers needs to most of the possession to make this comeback. That's the thing. They're still trailing by 5. Need to find a bit of that intercept from Imad Khan. That could have been everything, really. If he had gone all the way. In game, seriously, at the moment, Stormers by no means out of this contest. In fact, quite the opposite. That's a nice scrum. That's a nice scrum. Got the go forward ball there. Going to reset, but Stormers will take a bit of confidence out of that. United Rugby will say, how's it to Alex Usanov? Into Kunu's already had one over Thomas Clarkson. Yeah, Stormers were to complete a comeback here. We would have a guaranteed South African winner of the URC, a second one. And would also, I mean, by the way, we've still kept our record of having a side in the final every single year. But having won only one of the 4 so far maybe is a bit frustrating. But we've also had a different winner each time. Bulls are in their 4th final. Lost to Glasgow, lost to Leinster, lost to Stormers, poor lads. Munster beat Stormers in Cape Town. That's a nice scrum. Surely there's the penalty advantage. Evan Rose gets up and takes it in. Stormers are playing with an advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if they take the points, to be honest. Get to 13-11. Long pass out wide, but yeah, ideally, that's not a great pass back to Willemse, and they're going to go back for the penalty. I think they'll take the 3 here. They're just outside the 22. They're pretty much bang in front. I think Yuri Mateo will say thank you very much, get themselves within 2 points, and go back and reset. I tell you what would be very interesting. If the Stormers do make the final, that means we've got a Springbok game, not to mention a SAA game with no Bulls players and no Stormers players. So you're going to see the likes of Siva Mahashe, probably Franco Horn. You'll see who's in the Sharks mix over there. You might see Sima Suku at this rate. No issue there from Mateo. Right, so Stormers are within 2 points. And importantly, they're now within a penalty's worth of going ahead. So keeping the scoreboard ticking at the moment are the Stormers. And as we go into the final 27 minutes, reminder, the Stormers are still man down. So they're down to 14 and they've scored some points. So they've more than halved the deficit so far. With man down. Right, there goes under Hugo Fenter. JJ Kotze onto the park. I really rate JJ Kotze. I think he's very underrated. I wish the Lions would go and invest in him. And Zachary Portman's on as well in place of Niatin Bashir. Good take that from Evan Roos. Evan Roos almost making the half break here. Just outside of 22. Imad Khan. Slow ball here from Imad Khan. Going to go to the boot. Similani after this has played some rugby at full back, so not bad on the high ball, and Osborne will knock it on forward, as will in fact that's Vernon Matongo. So it took a Kunu's race has also run. Stormers now unloading the bench, and they're going to have an early scrum here. Both then Jack Conan are getting ready to come on. Adds as Rabbi Slimani. I'm not surprised they're bringing on Slimani. Look at those cars! My goodness, what a unit! Anton says, do you think Paul Levis will make his first cap this year? I do. I think if he's not playing in the URC final, I think he'll feature in one of those squads. And I foresee him getting a cap against Wales or Scotland. I like to think so anyway. I think he's a talented player. Big Springbok future ahead of him. So need to get him in nice and quickly, hopefully. Right, first scrum, 2 new front rows. Stormers did win a penalty a few minutes ago. And if they can navigate the next 90 seconds, which the reset will help, they would have scored points whilst being a man down. And gained ground on Leinster, who haven't scored any points since about the 40th odd minute. When did Sam Prendergast get that second penalty? That's about 30 odd, I reckon. Maybe even a bit later than, earlier than that. So the subs for Leinster still got Gus McCarthy, Diamond Megan, Luke McGrath, Harry Bird, and Gary Ringworth on the bench. Stormers still have Ruan Ackerman, Stefan Ungerer, and Warwick Gelant to come on as well. Free kick there for the Stormers, and I think they'll just take the time. That's what Paul DeVille is saying. Just settle down, let Joe Mateer kick downfield and kind of have a bit of a restart. Play a bit of field possession. No, they're going to actually kick a contestable. Down the middle of the field they go. It's a bit too far. Keen underneath it goes to James Lowe. James Lowe goes to that left boot of his. And it's allowed to bounce. Joe Mateer runs onto it. He's going to chip and chase himself. Prendergast. Mateer makes the tackle, though. So Leinster with possession just past their 10-meter line, the far left-hand side of the field. Now James Ryan. Tackle coming from Murat and RJ Smith, the two locks getting involved. Ball available there for Gibson Park. Oh, that's a nice big tackle out of Caelan Doris. Driving him back was Zachary Portham. Ball over the top to Damon Willemse. Right, Damon Willemse. I think he's going to look to go to the up and under. He does lift it high. He's going to chase his own kick. Here's Damon Willemse. Bounces off him into the hands of Evan Ruiz. Evan Ruiz hands off Gibson Park as well. Ball available. Good work this from the Stormers. Emma Khan to the left-hand side. Vernon Matongo now gets his first carry and loses it. Or does he lose it forward? Nope, says the referee. Quick defense there. And Similani under a little pressure. Presents, but I don't think he's. Oh, no. Penalty back over there. I think for offside is the call. So going back for the knock-on, I think. She said that Similani was crawling, but they're going back for the initial knock-on, I'm assuming. Because there was a penalty, and that would... Emma Khan... Yeah, I thought there was a knock-on there from Vernon Matongo. That's what they're going back for. Right, that's a big call. So Gelant has gone onto the park for Similani. I hope that doesn't mean that Van Willems has gone onto the wing. So Similani's last contribution was that double movement. It looks like Harry Byrne is on as well for Sam Prendergast. Your big scrum there by Rabbi Stamani. Ball available. Jack Coney comes off the back. Good tackle that coming from Dan du Plessis. Gibson Park goes to the right. McCarthy. Gibson Park space to the left-hand side, but we get Osborne fumbles just as well. Gibson Park looking at his options, assessing, goes to the right-hand side to Kelleher. Now Gibson Park shaping to go to the box kick. Does go to the box kick. Hugh Keenan's after it. Calling is comes from Damon Willemse. Backwards from Willemse into the hands of Dan du Plessis. Holds on to it. Emma Khan. Goes to Zach Porthan. Now, there's the Caterpillar. Ian McCann goes to the boot. Damien Williams will give this chase. It looks like he is back on the wing. I hate Damien Williams on the wing. I think it's such a waste of his talents. Ball's going to come off of a Leinster player, I think, or Stormers player. It's going to be a Leinster line out. All getting a little bit messy at the moment. Not much structure. And here comes Rowan Ackerman. His father is in the final, and he'll replace Paul de Villiers. So keeping Evan Lewis on. The lone survivor of that pack, him and RJ Smith will go the full distance. Vernon Matonga, a bit worrying was how much he got hammered by Rabbi Slimani in the scrum over there. Around the corner comes Keller here to James Lowe. James Lowe goes himself, but getting across was JJ Kotzer. Ball available, Gibson Park. Quick ball goes to Caelan Doris. Caelan Doris gets away from a few. Caelan Doris eventually brought down by Dan Lucy up towards 22. Good momentum this year from Leinster. And there's numbers as well. Osborne goes to Lowe. Lowe gets around. And McCall makes the tackle inside to Gibson Park. Gibson Park just short of getting the offload away. Now to the right-hand side. Usanova now. And Evan Ruiz clutches up and gets the turnover. Brilliant work that from Evan Ruiz. That's such an important turnover. The Leinster on the front foot. And those are the small moments, really, that win you games, get you to finals. Just being able to create that moment where Leinster finally got a bit of momentum and looked dangerous. Bang! Over goes Evan Lewis. It's a good, half tackle they made eventually from Dan WBC, but far too easily, to be honest. Emma Khan's defense has been good. Another good tackle coming across there. It was well, Evan Lewis, that'll endear you to Rassie Rasmussen as coaches, that kind of involvement. Not a happy-looking Leinster bunch, given the fact there's just 2 points in the game. 20 minutes left, 19 minutes left, in fact. This game on a knife edge at the moment. JJ Kotzer. I'm a big fan, and as I was about to say, usually very reliable line work jumper, but they just lost the line, so shows you what I know. But this is also the problem I mentioned. I'm worried about the Stormers line, given the fact they don't have a caller. So, it's basically going to be, I think, 2-ball line out the entire time because they've lost. They didn't have, they lost Ruben van Heerden. They took off Connor Evans. Bounces off of Damien Williams. So he reckons it's come off a Leinster player, but it's going to be a Leinster line out. John says, Stormers have got the dog in them. Leinster will be lucky to score another point the way they are playing. Well, Stormers need to score the points. And it's a good take. That's a good, they just put it straight up. And, okay, so the hand comes off of James Lowe onto the chest of Damien Williams. It's about the only thing that James Lowe can celebrate so far this evening. Not had a good outing, James Lowe. Right, Gary Ringrose on for Jamie Osborne. Must be nice to be able to make that kind of substitution. They go to the front of the line, Arden Keller here. Cuts back inside as well. Ball available for Gibson Park. Options are for Leinster. And Byrne carries it himself. And Stefan Ungar on now for Imran Khan. A good article for Imran Khan. Let's see what Stefan Ungar can do. Stormers have unleashed their bench. Leinster still have McGrath. To the left-hand side, they go to James Ryan. As well as Gus McCarthy and Mangan. Good defense so far here from Stormers. Can they keep Leinster at bay? Proper attritional stuff here. Harry Byrne decides to put the kick in away, and Stefan Ungar's come away with a turnover ball here from the Stormers. That's really good work. They're just staying in the fight here enough. Now the question is, how do they get themselves in the other end of the park? How do they get themselves that penalty? How do they get themselves into the lead? Ungar goes to the boot. Damon Willemse after it. James Lowe, but Willemse, no, comes, well, it's a bit of a yours and their mine, yours, their mine. Eventually comes away for James Lowe, Gibson Park. This is the problem. Stormers just currently camped inside their own half. Hugo Keenan turning in the tackle. Zach Porthman completes it. Now to the right-hand side. Byrne goes to Ringrose. His first touch of the game. Nice tackle that came from Zach Porthen, driving James Ryan back. Stormers' defense has been good. Silmani now. Ball pops out, picked up by McCarthy. McCarthy switches in the tackle. Ruan Ackerman needs to be careful not to come from the side there. Kellen Doris gets to kill it here, half break. So it's like Jack Conan, in fact. Available to the right-hand side. Short. Usanov gets crossed as Ruan Nell. Draining stuff. Rico Wani's got the break. Rico Wani steps inside of Ruan Nell. Rico Wani eventually brought down. Pops it up to Gibson Park. Gibson Park looks at options, goes to the left-hand side. Stormers desperate defense now. They've got so many numbers over here. Half a take there from Kelleher. Not the best pass. And allow Stormers that half a second they need to get across. This is very draining stuff here from the Stormers. They can't defend like this. There's a bit of an overlap. We're coming across as Andrew Bassi. Hugo Keenan gets the knees to the ground. And now the ball pops up and his ball's gone up. Ball's back. Knock on advantage. Jerry Mattia kicks it downfield. And that's not going to stay in. Evan Lewis is after this. And I'll tell you what, Ringrose is going to get there. Evan Lewis is not going to quite manage to get there. Good tackle. Oh, jeepers, the big hit. And Yuri Mathias taking a headshot on the knee there. That could be, could be safe for Mathias. But the ball's gone loose. This is just everywhere at the moment. McCarthy's come away with it. He doesn't really know what to do. Eventually, he places it. Mathias up, but limping away. Slimani takes the hit. Much more the area of the field where Stormers want to be. Up towards the 10-meter line inside their own half on Leinster. Going to the boot now is Gibson Park. This will be Willems's. It's quite deep. Oh, he just says cheers to James Lowe. Now, this is where we want to see Damien Willemse. Getting away from 1, 2. Ball available. Angara does well there. Ruas pops it up behind Kalan. Kalan gets it to Ruan Nell. Ruan Nell decides to go to the boot. Sees a bit of space. Looking at 50-22. And he has gotten it. That is phenomenal from Ruan Nell. One of the most sporadic passages of play where the ball is absolutely everywhere. And all of a sudden, Ruan Nell has picked out a 50-22 absolutely brilliantly. Gotten a better angle. Oh, it's so well done. It is so well done. Is this the moment? Is this the moment? Stormers will have the line out inside the 22. Stop and play, though, because Jerry Mattia is going to get treatment now. We don't actually have any more replacements for him. So my guess would be you can bring on Similani. Willemse goes to 10. Oh, the big booing coming around the stadium because they looked at the replay. But, I mean, literally old Ringrose falls and that sort of basically goes clattering into your Mattia. Ronan Kelleher getting checked out. Right, 14 minutes over here. Is this the moment for Stormers? Haven't had much inside Leinster territory. They got to make this count. Have to make this count. Even coming over with a 3-pointer puts them in the lead. Break and play. And I think that could be what James Lowe's hair is out the bun. But he is not going off. Rabbi Slimani there. In picture, an absolute unit of a man. JJ Kotza, I think we might have to continue playing here. Is Yuri Mattia back up? We're going to play with Artem. Yeah, they're desperately trying to get him going. Yeah, that's been record. That could be a record time for that strapping. And as Yuri Mattia, I think, has joined the line. Yeah, there he is. Right, JJ Kotza has to get this line right. I still think this is probably going to be front of the line. They go to Marcel Tennyson. It's not a clean line, but the ball is available. That's the main thing. Stefan Angura arrives. Bernard Matonga leaves behind, but good work from Zachary Portland to dive on it. But Slimani gets over it, and that's why I said accuracy. Accurate. And you can see the apology coming from Bernard Matonga, but that's not good enough. That really isn't good enough. It's phenomenal by Slimani there to get over the ball. And you're not going to move him. I mean, jeepers me. But it's not accurate enough. The lineout's not accurate. The pass over here, Matongo fumbles it. You see, I mean, he presents himself and then runs ahead of the ball. It's stupid. You can't be doing stuff like that. You got to be disciplined here. First opportunity they've really had, and they've butchered it and allowed Leinster now to get back towards their own 10-meter line, get the ball back. There's 13 minutes in. You kind of feel the next person to score is likely going to be our second URC finalist. But they've stolen the line now. Now that's more like it from the Stormers. Ruan Ackerman runs into Kellen Doris, who's up for the challenge. Anger's going to shape up here for the kick, I'm sure. Leon Zas will give chase. And that's knocked backwards into the hands of Max Deegan. Martinez completes the tackle back towards the 22 on Leinster on the right-hand side. About 10 meters shy of the touchline. Now Usunov met behind the advantage line. Good tackle that from the Stormers. Ruan Ackerman getting up there nice and quickly. Here comes the kick from Gibson Park. Nope, he's going for distance here as Gibson Park. Underneath is Warwick Holland. Now, Warwick Holland. What can he conjure up? Pops it up to Williamson. Williamson over the space. Good tackle coming from James Ryan. That's a big clear out coming from Ruan Ackerman. Completely legal, says Holly Davidson. Holds on to the ball there. There's Warwick Holland. Now he goes off to... that's Ruan now out on the wing there. And Ruan eventually managed to wrestle him to the ground. Ball available for Angara. It was good work there from Holland. Ball back inside of Matongo. I'm having a check here. I think this is on the clean out. Yeah, I think this is the trouble for Ruan Ackerman. He's come flying into this clean out. And Holly Davis is going to have a look. I think obviously the TMO has gotten involved here. I think this is going to be Stormers down to 14 here. Right, Kelleher's over. Yeah, that's gone. He gets it wrong here, does Ruan Ackerman. He's tucked in his arm. There's no wrap. There's head contact. There's going to be down to 14. Yeah, so that's 14 for Stormers. I don't think we'll see him again in the half, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised. That gets up going to a red. Right, that could very well be what Leinster need just to turn the tide. Yeah, right. So it'll go back for a penalty for Leinster. Ronan Kelleher seems to be okay to continue. No Gus McCarthy yet. It is the bunker check. Doesn't make much of a difference, to be honest. There's 11 minutes left in the game. Right, if Stormers are going to win it, they're going to win it with 14 men. That's what that means. Harry Byrne finds not the best touch finder, but halfway between the 10 meter and the 22 on the short side, close side here. Far too many stupid mistakes. That's what I think John Dobson, if they lose this game, will rue the silly errors. The silly, silly errors. McCarthy, it's a good line out there. Gus McCarthy onto the park to James Ryan. Now Gibson Park goes to Ringrose. As we enter towards the final 10 minutes. Big hit down James Ryan. Zach Portland's getting a bit of work since coming on. Deegan eventually brought down by Salmurat. Backwards to the core. Gives a pocket straight through. Oh my goodness, how fortuitous is that? And he's over. We're going to have a check here. Holly Davidson is right. We're going to have a check here because the ball bounced off somewhere. He picked it up and he went straight through the gap. So this could very well be potentially the game, but this could also not stand. We are having a check. Holly Davidson immediately said, I want to have a check. The actions of 19 here. Right, they're checking to see if Solomon Murat intentionally kicked the ball. I don't think so. I mean, it's pretty unsighted. If they're looking for a yellow card, Jeff, for Solomon Murat, I think that's harsh. That's another yellow card. I'm not sure I agree with that decision. He's not even looking there, I think, Solomon Murat. Well, that I think is game, set, and match, because that Stormers down to 13 men. It's Leinster up to 20 points. That, as far as I'm concerned, will be that, unfortunately. And as we all say in the comments, discipline. At the end of the day, discipline. Yeah, even the commenters are saying, I don't think it's a yellow card. I mean, basically, he just gave the try assist, if anything. But I mean, he's not looking at where Gibson Park is. I think that's basically his legs coming up as he's trying to sit up. This whole the whole thing of an unnatural position, I really struggle to go behind, because it's such a big thing interpretation. Yeah, rounding down that clock is Harry Byrne. And then she pops it over. Right, 20 points to 11. Stormers will have to score twice with 13 men if they are to win this. And I'm not sure Holly Davidson's got that one right. Well, hang on. I think we got a decision on the yellow card. Upgrade to a red card. Doesn't make any difference, to be honest. So a red and a yellow. Stormers down to 13. And they've got 8.5 minutes. Gives the puck, goes downtown. Clant keeps it alive. Clant with a bit of space. Up towards the halfway line. Now to the left-hand side. Knock on advantage here for the Stormers. Evan Ruiz gets to throw it away to Matia. Long pass out wide. Space ahead now for Ruan now. Doesn't really have the pace. Looking for that 50-22 once again. Hugo Keane's going to have to get back. Ball back inside. Harry Byrne will just look for touch, I'm sure. Yep, run the clock down. No, it's such a good start. I mean, he just completely does Elon Zas. Right, Vernon Matonga is going to give the order here. They're going to have to go bang, bang here if they're going to get through the next round. Some very worried faces on the Stormers bench. Well, first things first, they have won the line-out. What'll be interesting to see if they get a penalty in the next few minutes. Do they go for the 3 or do they go for the try? To Andrew Basine now. Gets it all through to Ruan now. Ruan now with a bit of space. Long pass out wide on the bounce to Jamie Willemse, who's sitting on the wing now. Willemse comes back inside, wrapped up by James Lowe and Rico Wani. Ball available for Stefan Ungera. It's now or never for the Stormers. JJ Kotze. Ungera goes to Porthen. Porthen almost gets through. Still working as Porthen. Matonga now. Ungera to the left-hand side. Show and go from Warwick Lant. Ball available for Ungera to the right-hand side. Tennyson takes it into contact. Now short to Willemse. Willemse brought down by Doris. Ungera to Matongo. Matthias sees a bit of space. What are you doing? Yeah, literally had nothing else to do and just chipped it straight to Hugo Keenan. And that is a bizarre decision from Yuri Mattia. And they're all the way back 30, 40 meters now. What would you do that for? That's just pressure. That is just pressure. No ideas whatsoever. Just completely buckled. Did Yuri Mattia, unfortunately. Right, 20 points to 11. There's 6 minutes left. I've never known someone to celebrate everybody else's contribution to a game, not his own, than James Lowe. Some more attention there for James Ryan. They've got 5 minutes left for the Stormers. They're going to need to try and win this ball back, go the length of the field, score a try, get the ball back, get a penalty or a try. All whilst playing with 13 men. I unfortunately do not think it is happening. Right, cross kick coming from Yuri Mattia. It's too much. Far too much. But they had a penalty advantage. So they'll get it back and keep chasing down the park. Look, never say never. But unlikely. Unlikely. And there goes Gibson Park. Job done. Scoring potentially what is the winning try. Unless there's an implosion here from Leinster, it'll be a Friday night URC final in Dublin. Josh Penny say, if Sash 5 goals was playing, Stormers would win. I think that's a bit simplistic, to be honest. Not to say that Yuri Mattia's played phenomenally well, but I think that's I think that's a lot of it's very much a whataboutism. No what ifism. Right, they're looking for the rolling more here. JJ Kotze has been pulled in by James Ryan. He needs to present that ball to Stefan Ungera, and he hasn't. And now, there it is. Ungera does well. Mattia. Long pass out wide. Kalant steps inside. Now Kalant puts the ball in behind. Willemse makes the tackle. Is it high? Now Kellen Doris, deep inside the 22. This is where the Stormers desperately need a penalty or something. And there's the clearance from McGrath. So Stormers will have an attacking lineup, but they've got 3 minutes. They don't have time for this. They don't have time for this. Gibson Park, as expected, announced as the man of the match. What a player. What a player. Here, Keenan down receiving some treatment. This is like the stage of the season where Andy Farrell starts watching with a bit of concern. Right, 20 points to 11. Stormers still down to 13. They do have an attacking lineup. Hugo Keenan is back on his feet. Bit of a messy line out, and Leinster come away with it. Max Deegan with the ball in hand. And you got to think that's probably that, to be honest. Bar an interception. Ringrose, long pass out wide. And here's the overlap. Keenan. Not looking very injured there. Yeah, good call. Good communication. Phillips had told Khalan to make the man. He had the man. Sure, the penalty advantage here, though, I think, for Stormers going off their feet. There's the penalty. Looking at the replay here. 90 seconds left of the clock. This is going to be the end of the Stormers season. I think it's probably quite appropriate that it kind of fizzled out because that's kind of their season in a nutshell. They started off strong and then just kind of couldn't really kick on, to be honest. Project 2029 is their big one. So that'll be the reset, and they'll have to look at exactly what went wrong and where to fix it. Injury is, yeah, I think will be a big part of this. You know, no Sasha, no Kobus Reinach, no Ruben van Heerden. Ball available there. Jack Conan into the last minute over here. Leinster looking to try and finish with a flourish. Right, 5 seconds left. 2 more phases than that. I think will be basically that. Yeah, there it is. Ball goes back. And into the stands it goes. Right. It is official. Leinster will take on the Bulls in the URC Grand Final. I think it'll be on Friday night. It'll be Friday the 19th. So just less than 2 weeks until we will crown a URC winner. It does mean that Rusty Erasmus will have a bigger group to work with, as the Stormers players will be available. But people, thank you very much for joining me throughout the afternoon and evening. It's been 2 very good semi-finals, pretty closely contested, in fairness. So good watches. Let me know what you thought of the game down in the comments below. Thanks to everybody who's jumped in. Please also consider joining the WhatsApp group, becoming a member, and getting involved.